Hello and welcome to the Executive Hub Show, the show that helps you grow your business with simple tips and strategies from successful entrepreneurs. My guest today is Seth Greene. Welcome, Seth.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Likewise, and we're going to talk about how to recruit 50 top affiliates to promote your offer for all year round, pretty much. So
50
let me
weeks.
do the proper introduction for Seth, and we're going to talk about getting other people to promote you at, I'm guessing, at no cost upfront. And we're going to dive into it. So, Seth Greene is the nation's foremost authority on cutting edge direct response marketing. Seth is the co host of the Sharkpreneur podcast with Shark Tank's Kevin Harrington, which was named the #6 business podcast to listen to. He's a 9 times best selling author who has been interviewed on NBC News, CBS News, Forbes Inc., CBS Moneywatch, and many more. Seth is the only person in history to be nominated 3 years in a row for the prestigious Magnetic Marketing Marketer of the Year award from Dan Kennedy and Russell Brunson. He has been endorsed by Dan Kennedy, Russell Brunson, Rich Sheffron, Kevin Harrington, Jay Abraham, Amanda Holmes, and the Harmon brothers. Seth, welcome again. How's your day so far?
Fantastic. Got better now that I'm here.
Fantastic. Where about are you?
I am in Buffalo, New York.
Love it. And what's it like out there right now?
I don't know because my blinds are down and I try not to be distracted, but I'm guessing it is probably sunny and in the 60s.
Beauty. So let's dive into it, Seth. What is your story?
So I started out at the age of 18. I went to undergraduate. I went to Syracuse University. I went to school for musical theater because I wanted to be a Broadway star. My father every semester would call me and tell me I couldn't go there anymore. I had to come home and get a job and work part-time and do the dishes and help my mom because he couldn't afford to send me there. Thankfully, every semester it magically worked out and I got to stay. By the time I graduated, I decided I didn't want to go starve in New York anymore. I became a degree that I created something that didn't exist at the time, which was I was going to become a college financial aid negotiator and reduce that stress for other parents. That's what I did when I graduated. I built that business to a national presence. And then the marketing I did, that was before the internet. That was all based on print advertising and direct mail. Then the internet thing came along and social media came along and made my job a whole lot easier. And it spun off a marketing firm because I got written about in every trade journal in financial services. So advisors started calling me saying, how do I do what you did? So I started a marketing company 18 years ago, marketdominationllc.com. To originally, we only worked with financial advisors. Now we're in about 63 different industries, and we've helped thousands of business owners literally around the planet grow their business so that they can run it.
Beauty. What inspired you to get into the marketing world and start a marketing company? Was there like a specific moment or something that sparked the idea?
Dan Kennedy had told me I had gotten to learn from and work with Dan, and that had grown the first business. And Dan said, every business owner should also be in the information marketing business. So he's like, you need to start teaching other advisors how to do what you did. And at the same time, other advisors were calling me going, how do I do what you did? So serendipity, I said, well, people are asking for this and Dan says I should do it. So I'm going to do it.
Love it. So who do you serve these days and what do you do for them?
So we serve 3 different groups of clients. We serve professional practices. So think financial advisor, accountant, lawyer, doctor. We serve information marketers, people who sell courses, membership sites, author, speaker, coach, consultant. And we serve e-commerce brands that sell their products online. What we do for them, our flagship service, what we're known for is we recruit them 50 affiliates to promote their offer 50 weeks in a row to grow their business and get them an army of essentially commission-based salespeople.
Beauty. And then, so what are some of the problems that people have and how do you help them solve those problems?
Well, as you know, growing your business is hard, right?
Yeah.
We believe don't do it yourself. You should get other people to help you grow your business. So the good news is whoever your ideal client, customer, prospect, or patient is, somebody else already has them. Someone else already has built that audience for you who doesn't compete with you. So we call it co-opetition, and we help our clients go find 50 cooperators who will, if they follow our process, promote our client's business 50 weeks in a row and take it to a whole new level.
Fantastic. So we talked about, that was the topic of the show on how to find those. How do you go about finding those, what we would call affiliate partners and, get it going?
Yes, and depending on the business you're in, you might call them affiliates, you might call them referral partners or strategic alliances or joint ventures. It all basically means the same thing. Someone else who has the audience that you want, who we can get to be willing to promote you to their audience. So the first step is you've got to really well define who your actual target market is. So the target market should not be baby boomers with money. The target market should not be women 25 to 34. It's too broad. It's not narrow enough. We want a laser focused, micro niche, ultra specific target market that you can ultimately be the biggest fish in that pond and own that target market in a relatively short period of time, as in less than 12 months. So can I give you an example of a poorly defined target market and a well-defined target market?
100%.
So I had a dentist in my office a number of years ago, and I said, Doc, who's your ideal patient? And he said, that's easy. I'm a dentist. I can help anybody with teeth. That is a bad target market. It is not well defined. He doesn't have the marketing budget to reach everybody with teeth. Not everybody with teeth can afford him. Not everybody with teeth is a good patient for him. So we were able to do, over a period of a couple months, some deep dive analysis into his CRM, his patient database. We interviewed his staff, and we found out that his real ideal patient was a 45 to 55-year-old affluent suburban woman who had gotten divorced in the last 6 months, who was starting to date again, was scared of competing against younger women, but wanted to do something to make themselves feel more confident in their appearance, but didn't want plastic surgery. That is a micro-specific target market that he went from working 7 days a week to 4 days a week. He makes 4 times as much money now with half the overhead. He only does divorce smile makeovers, and he is absolutely loving life and has a waiting list several months long. That is the power of re-engineering a business to work specifically on one target market.
Beautiful. And for what I've seen over the years is when you're specific like that on, say, Facebook alone, you could go and target specifically that group of people, women, divorced, 45, 55 on a very specific location, and then target them. And then I think on your ads, you could probably talk about their pains, issues, and challenges that they're dealing with. How do you go about talking to their pain? Let me ask you that. So since you're the expert.
So you could target them on Facebook. In our case, we were specifically going after his co-opetition. So we built him relationships with divorce attorneys, with social workers, with psychologists, with other people who saw the divorcing women he wanted. In fact, our best referral source ended up being hairdressers, because before she even calls before she calls a lawyer, she tells her best friend first. She tells her hairstylist second.
Yes.
So we were able to make those relationships very, very profitable. Now, how do you speak to somebody's pain point? I think that's one of my favorite parts of the job, is coming up with that strategy and that copy that's really going to do a deep dive into what that person is feeling and thinking. We do a lot of research. We interview the target market to find out what they are thinking about, so we can really write copy and create marketing campaigns that will take that person and have them go, I want them looking over the shoulder going, does Mustafa have a webcam in my house? It feels like he's inside my head. This is written just for me. That's the response I want.
Fantastic. And then, so then do you then focus on sending the target market direct mail pieces, or do you go online or offline, or how does that work?
So in our process, we're getting those affiliates, those divorce attorneys, those therapists, those hairdressers. We're recruiting them. We're getting them to fall in love with our client, the divorce dentist. And then we're getting them to promote to their client base, to their customer base, about our client, the divorce dentist expert in this example. So we're not, in this example, we're not running direct mail. We're not running online ads. We're not spending any money on any of that. We are getting an army of other professionals who serve the same market to tell them about our client and grow our client's business.
Love it. And then, so let's say that I identify that, here are some potential referral partners for me, or affiliate partners. how do you approach them to start this whole thing?
So the first public facing touch point we would use is we would approach those hairdressers, for example, and interview them on a podcast. So I'm leading with a podcast that we're producing for our clients. So now our divorcing dentist has a podcast where he's interviewing the divorce attorneys and the hairstylists and all of those people. He's starting off the relationship by adding value, something I know that you teach. He is starting off shining a mini spotlight on those potential affiliate partners and making them feel good and promoting them and saying, look at this awesome hairdresser, look at this divorce attorney, and promoting them on the podcast. That is getting them to fall in love with our client just a little bit. And then we've got I believe it's about a 14, 15 step direct mail process that goes out from our client to that potential referral source or affiliate, driving them to go from becoming just a happy guest into, I'm going to hand out your business card to every woman who tells me she's getting divorced.
Beauty. So then when they get them on a podcast, is it just a spotlight, or do we like ask them to become a partner before or after the podcast, or how does that work?
No, we don't ask them anything except, hey, I'd like to feature you on my podcast and promote you to my audience. Pure warm and fuzzy, pure value add. Until they've gotten a couple of the direct mail steps after the podcast airs, that's when the ask comes, because we've added more goodwill. We've added more value. We literally add so much that the referral source will say, Doc, I can't believe the cool stuff you send me. What can I do for you? How can I help you? And that's our invitation to make the pitch.
So we say, what can I do for you to the
No, the partner is literally going to get so much value. They are going to ask the client, what can I do for you? Thank you so much.
Okay, what can I do for you?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay. So the strategy is, we go in first, we promote them, highlight them, get some eyes on their offer and what they do, to a point where they would say, all right, well, you've done enough for me. Let me see. I think that's the law of reciprocity.
That's exactly
right?
Where I got it from. Part of how I built this service is with guidance from Robert Cialdini's book, Influence.
Absolutely. Actually, that book has been on my list to kind of reread that book. I read it like 10, 15
get the new
years
edition.
ago.
It's even better.
Robert's Influence. There's a new edition
that came out last year.
Oh, I'll have to get that then. Yeah, I read that book, and then I started reading Prefluence.
Yep, Persuasion.
Something like that.
Persuasion. Also a great book.
And that was kind of like an academic paper. I had a hard time reading that book.
Well, get through it. I promise it's worth. I don't get paid by Robert Cialdini, but I promise it's worth it.
It is worth it. Okay, I'm gonna try to. I mean, I got some really good ideas out of that, to be honest. But then the text was kind of heavier compared to Influence. It, Anyway. So let's say that then the guest or the potential partner says, hey, Seth, you've done so much for me. What can I do for you? Where do we take it from there?
That's going to depend on the business the client that we're representing. But in this case, the divorce dentist might say, hey, I'd love to have you come in for a tour of our practice and see what we do. We're going to have a tour with hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and we're going to have all the salons come and check us out. And then they come, he shows them how the Divorce Smile makeover process works. The Rolls Royce limo he uses is parked outside. People take pictures with it. They get all excited and they say, wow, this is amazing. And then that goes into the next step of getting them materials that are trackable, so he knows which hairdresser or which attorney is sending him business and how much he should be thankful to them based on the volume of business that they're driving.
Love it. Can you give us like a case study, like an example of a client you work with, and what was their challenge that they had, and how did you kind of help them out?
Sure. We have a financial advisor, and his ideal client was dentists. He actually wanted to represent dentists and invest their money. And he had tried a number of other ways to get in front of them. He had tried regular direct mail. He had tried LinkedIn marketing and some other things, and nothing seemed to work. And he used our process for multiple years in a row, because every single week we were either getting him an interview with a dentist, or we were getting him an interview with someone who had a list of dentists, a tribe or a following of dentists in the industry. And literally, I think we ran that podcast for over 2.5 years, which is like 125 episodes. It worked incredibly well. We held a dental summit online and got hundreds of dentists to register for that. We did all kinds of different strategies to build him a book of business of dentists. He was very happy until he decided he's actually one of our few clients who quit, even though it worked. He quit because he said, I'm bored. I can't possibly do another interview. My wife's going to kill me because this makes me money every week. And she's going to tell me I'm an idiot, but I got to go try something else. So
Interesting. It's interesting how people get bored of something.
I've done over 1,000 interviews. I will never stop podcast. The day I will stop podcasting is the day it stops working, and that's never going to happen.
Interesting. Have you had a solution for people that have a working solution and they quit? They're like, oh, I'm bored. Like,
I did.
Dude, this is working.
That client actually inspired me because I said, I never want that to happen again. He's going to chase some other shiny object. So I decided we were going to be the shiny object. And every 90 days, I iterate, create, or invent something new and tell all our clients about it. And I have had clients who said, I'm not going to buy the new thing, but I'm not going to go buy anything else either because I'm just going to wait and keep waiting to see what you come up with next. And it has increased our retention. Even if they don't buy another service from us, it's increased our retention. I know because people have said, I'm sticking around longer because I want to keep seeing what you come up with. Instead of letting them leave and chase other shiny objects, make yourself the shiny object.
Have you not ran into the problem of having too many offers or products?
I have not. I have had people tell me they have man crushes on my creativity. I have had people go, I'm already doing 3 things with you. I can't do a 4th, but keep sending me ideas. Maybe eventually I'll do another one. I've had people go, you have every single dollar in my marketing budget. I have no more money to give you, which is great. And I'm happy about that. But I've never had anyone go, please stop coming up with new stuff.
Very interesting. So I know there are some other direct response companies out there. What makes you guys different compared to the rest of the pack?
So all of the other direct response marketing agencies, they have different areas of specialty. They would focus on Facebook ads. They would focus on social media or direct mail or some other form of media. There isn't anyone else who applied the principles of direct response marketing to a podcast the way we do it. There are tons of podcast production firms, and there are even a couple direct response podcast production firms, but not a single one of them has come up with the idea of using a podcast the way we do to create affiliates. And certainly there's no one who has our direct mail sequence because you wouldn't be able to see it unless you were on the receiving end of it. And I think that's what makes a real big difference in terms of converting guests into affiliates or customers.
Love it. Are you still hanging out with Dan Kennedy?
Hanging out is probably the wrong word. I am still on Planet Dan. Yes, I still subscribe. Yes, I have not been a direct client in a long time. I have been to many, many events. So I get to interact with him in person that way. It's been a few years, though, since he and I had a direct meeting.
And did you do Russell Brunson's this last event? I saw that he was saying it was his last
Funnel Hacking Live ever.
What is it? The Funnel Hacking Live.
I wasn't able to attend in person. I had a kid scheduling conflict, but one of my business partners went.
Okay. Because I heard is Dan still up and running? Dan is
still alive. Dan is still working. He is just working less and taking on fewer direct private copywriting clients. But he has not announced his latest retirement. He has not announced that at this point in time, as far as I know.
Good. I hope to. Well, a few years ago, I wanted to see him, and then there was some came out to say he's gone.
And he had a significant health issue and was out of commission for a few months.
Yeah, good. Well, I hope to run into him someday. What are some of the milestones that you guys have achieved along the way since you started?
Let's see. For the last 18 years, there's opening the business, getting our first customer, first 100,000 in revenue, first $1 million in revenue, Sharkpreneur being named the top 6 business podcast to listen to. We're on we made the Inc. 5000 for the first time last year. that was super exciting. Crossing 1 million downloads in the podcast world, crossing 2 million downloads in the podcast world. How are those?
Fantastic. Amazing. 1 million downloads, 2 million downloads, a podcast, top 6 Inc. 5,000. Beautiful. What would you say were some of the challenges that you faced along the way?
We've had a lot. So growing a business isn't easy. I would say I should have hired sooner. I should have built systems for other people to run sooner, so it wasn't in my head. Challenges, ups and downs, like making a mess and then having to clean it up, learning how to be a manager, learning how to lead. I would say having too many eggs in one basket in terms of one potential client or one client being worth too much of your revenue. We've had service delivery problems. Nobody's perfect. There have been issues where our process broke or someone broke it. And then we had to work backwards and kind of figure out what went wrong and how we fix it. The normal ups and downs, right, of roller coaster of owning and growing a business, I would say, apply to us.
Yeah, I see some common themes on what I have experienced and what I see other people do. It hiring sooner, that seems like a common issue. How did you overcome that one? Because I think a lot of us hold back on that, thinking that we're probably going to be able to do a lot more than we think on our own. And then, what was your story there?
I was running 2 businesses at the same time. The marketing firm was taking off. I had too much business that I couldn't handle it all myself, no matter how much I tried or how many extra hours. I had young kids I had my first baby at the time. I didn't want to work, 80 hours a week, and said, hey, if I'm going to take on this next project, I really need to bite the bullet, even though I think I can't afford it at this point in time, and hire somebody to help me with it.
Do you now have like a hiring system or a hiring process that you use?
We do. We've got ads that work. We've got an interview process and an onboarding and training process now, all of which thankfully run without me.
Beautiful. Seth, what would you say is maybe holding you or your business back right now?
Wow. I'm the bottleneck, right? Where everything goes back to the business owner. So how am I holding us back? Spending too much time working in the business, not spending more time working on the business. Haven't successfully delegated sales yet. We've had a number of sales people, none of whom worked out. So I need to work on that. And you and I are in separate conversations about Paradox AI and how your AI can help us capture more of the money, low-hanging fruit money that's on the table, and get more qualified appointments with better leads.
Fantastic. What would working on the business look like for you? Would that be like more prospecting and being out there, or?
No, I think if I wasn't working in the business at all, I could shave 20 hours a week off of. I think I probably spend 20 hours a week working on it. I mean, working in it as opposed to on it. And if I could get some of that off my plate, that would be really helpful, which I think, again, your AI is going to help with some of that.
Hopefully. Seth, who are maybe one or two or maybe more people who've had a major influence on your business journey?
Dan Kennedy, obviously. All of our businesses wouldn't exist without his inspiration and education. Russell Brunson, for sure. And the late Chet Holmes, who inspired our service.
Chet Holmes. Yeah, I really like Chet and his approach to sales. Really liked him. And I've read a whole bunch of Dan Kennedy books and Russell Brunson too. These are all great direct response people. The no BS kind of guys when it comes to sales and marketing. And well, Dan Kennedy's brand is all about no BS. So very interesting. If you had to go back and give your younger self advice when you were first starting your business, what would that advice be?
It's going to work out. It's going to be okay. It's going to work out better than you think it is, better than you can even imagine. And hire sooner, build systems sooner, train faster, etc.
Train faster. Love it. Seth, what's like a typical day like for you?
It depends on the day. See, if I had more time to spend, if I spent more time on the business, they'd probably look more the same. I will. We have team meetings Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I lead all of our group coaching calls for our clients on Thursday. There will always be podcast interviews. There will always be meetings with clients. There will always be, until some of this stuff gets taken care of. There are prospecting and sales appointments. So it's not the only day that's the same every week is Thursday, because I lead our coaching calls all day on Thursday. All the
Oh,
rest,
okay.
there's some fixed meetings like staff meetings, and then the rest changes.
What do you coach your clients on?
So we run a number of coaching programs for financial advisors and estate attorneys on a specific marketing technique or program that they bought into that comes with weekly group coaching.
Lawyers.
So we're holding their hand and showing them how to implement the program to get the results.
And I'm guessing you guys also have a mix of the done for you service where you do it for them.
We do. We
Okay.
have do it yourself, do it with us, do it for you.
What's your experience with, like, I know we talked about information marketing. What's the approach or strategy there? Should people go and focus on just selling info marketing packages, or a combination of info and done for you, or just done for you? What's your experience with that?
Depends on the business, depends on the niche that they're serving, depends on what they are able and willing to provide. I don't think there's a straight answer what everybody should do. I think it'd be customized based on each person's business and their situation.
So that's okay. I guess for financial advisors that we talked about, they would be doing the info marketing to bring in customers for the done for you service. Same with
Correct.
the lawyers.
Correct.
Okay.
Right? Just like as a marketer, your book might be an information product that brings people in for the core business. Your AI might be a way in the door, etc.
Got it. I'm guessing you are a reader yourself.
Voracious. I read every single day, multiple times a day.
Give me 2 of your favorite books of all time.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand.
Atlas Shrugged.
And I'll give you one that you haven't read, $4 Sandwich by Dr. Corey Melnikoff.
$4 is that a new book?
No, but it's a story of how he went from having his debit card declined for a $4 sandwich as a chiropractor trying to open his first practice to now having 20 to 30 locations.
Beautiful.
He also happens to be my brother-in-law.
Okay.
Full disclosure.
And
it's an awesome book. It'd be an awesome book even if we weren't related.
Love it. Love it. I love stories like that, going from zero to a hero, like a hero's journey.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. Inspiring. What's one piece of advice that made a big impact on your life or business?
Who you are being affects how well what you do works. So spend more time working on yourself than you do anything else. Most of the breakthroughs I've had in our business didn't just come from a new marketing technique or a new shiny object. They came because I grew myself as a person, as a husband, as a father, as a leader. And then magically my business grew to meet the new me.
Amazing. So what is your approach? What's your definition of growing yourself? Because I think that, different people have probably different. Okay. So how do you go about growing yourself? Like, how do you determine what you should work on?
So I have had many, many, many different coaches, mentors, and gurus over the years. I am always taking courses. I am always reading books. I am always trying to learn how to be a better human, better thought leader, better business owner, better father, husband, etc. Always working on managing my own emotional state, whether that's martial arts, weightlifting, cold plunge, sauna, swimming, etc.
Beautiful. So always learning, working with coaches. Yeah, I think that makes it easier, working with coaches and mentors where someone could see problems in you and be like, hey, you need to fix this.
Yes.
Or here's how to, go about this. Very interesting. I think being coachable makes life a lot easier compared to being this is going to sound rude, I'm sure, being an ass about business and everything about it. It's going to make life very hard.
You said it, not me.
Fantastic. We talked about books. Tell us about your book.
Yes. So for those of you watching, you'll see I am holding up a copy of my 9th best-selling Amazon book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, How to Turn Warm, Fuzzy Feelings into Cold, Hard Cash. And for followers of this show, if you go to ultimatepodcastbook.com, you can get 30% off the Amazon price and we'll ship you a physical copy.
Fantastic. So it is the ultimatepodcastbook.com.
No, the book is the Ultimate Podcast Book. The website is just ultimatepodcastbook.com. There's no in the URL.
There's no in there. Okay, ultimatepodcastbook.com.
Yes.
That's right. Okay, and then we put the links of to the website to get his book on the chats. And so the website again is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Now, what do you talk about in that book? What are people going to get?
We're going to spill our entire secret sauce and lay out our entire process of how we use a podcast to recruit 50 top affiliates to promote your business 50 weeks in a row. So it's literally our entire pretty much our entire process is in the book.
Love it. And is this, do they have to purchase the book or how does that work?
Yes, you'll get 30% off the Amazon price, but you are buying a physical copy of the book that includes free shipping to the US. If you're overseas, shipping's extra.
Fantastic. Is Canada considered overseas or are we another state up here?
No, Canada's considered over. I got to pay to get through customs.
No, I'm joking. Cool. Seth, this was a great conversation. Is there a question that I should have asked that would have added value to people that are watching or listening?
I think you did a great job. I think you were pretty thorough.
Fantastic. Where can people reach out and learn more about you and get in touch?
So our agency website is marketdominationllc.com. And the social network I am active the most on is LinkedIn.
So gang, if you're out there, what was the website for your company again?
marketdominationllc.com.
marketdominationllc.com. Gang, go check it out. And here, I will put the website for their company here in the chats, marketdominationllc.com. And then if you search for Seth Greene on LinkedIn, he pops right up. You can send him a connection request and get in touch with him.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Seth. Gang, thank you for joining us. You've been watching and listening to another episode of the Executive Hub Show. My name is Mustafa Hosseini with my guest, Seth Greene. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you in our next episode. Bye now.